ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. Namaste. Good morning to the class of 2022. The most respected Dr. M.R. Doraswamy, Professor D. Jawahar, Dr. J. Surya Prasad, the 3,495 students. I am the teachers and professors, parents who are in the audience. First of all, congratulations. For most of us who have made this journey of studying and graduating and moving on to the new world of opportunities ahead of you who have done this before, we understand and appreciate, and I particularly understand and appreciate how challenging it has been, especially in the last few years due to COVID. So I congratulate you for not only having made this journey, made this effort, but also having crossed this milestone, an important milestone of graduation. So again, congratulations to you, congratulations to all those who patiently taught you. And as I heard the oath that you took, I hope that all or part of that oath is something that you will take into this new world of opportunities as you cross education and cross academics and move into the real world of life, of employment, of creating something on your own. Keep those words that you have taken as an oath in your mind, in your heart, and I suggest and I encourage you to live by those values. You have heard, and I'm sure all of you are the Insta generation. You've been called the Insta generation, the WhatsApp generation, the Facebook generation, Gen X, Gen Z. But let me present to you what you really are. You are a new India generation. You are a generation of young Indians who are stepping forth into a very, very different India, an India full of opportunities, an India where a young Indian can demonstrate his or her achievements on his or her own merits without having to depend on who his or her father was or any other network contacts and connections that in a lot of ways for the last 65, 70 years described how opportunities were presented to the youngsters in India. You are the generation of new India. And to explain to you, and that is why I will spend about 10 minutes, 15 minutes to explain to you this new India and what this new India is. To understand new India, you need to understand the India that we all came from. On the dais, and many of your professors and teachers and parents all lived through a time which was not the new India. What was that new India? And I want to explain to you. It was clearly a new India where there was no WhatsApp, Facebook, and Instagram on one level. There was no Netflix and Amazon Prime at another level. But that apart, India was for many, many years seen as a dysfunctional democracy. What does that mean? For many years, including in the late 80s, described by the then Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi, India was a country where democracy was a burden on its citizens. When 100 rupees left from the Delhi for the benefit of its citizens, benefit of its youth, only 15 rupees reached that youth or youth reached that beneficiary. That was the description of India. That was how the world saw India as a country full of potential, but a country that performed way below its weight category, way below its potential, because of the overhang of governance, politics, and democracy. India was described as a country which could only grow 3 to 4% per annum because the government of India could never generate enough revenues to grow faster. India was described as a country where we could never have modern infrastructure, modern education for all of our students because we did not have the money to fund it. You are Generation New India, and you are living at a time when 100 rupees leaves Delhi for the benefit of its citizens, 100 rupees reaches the citizens' accounts without any delay, without any corruption, without any leakage. This is the new India. You are in a country today that is growing at 13.5%, fastest growing economy in the world, and we are generating more tax revenues beyond our target. For the first time in the history of India, our tax revenues are 25% above our target. For a country that was described in the last 65 years as a country with no infrastructure, this year we are investing over 10 lakh crores in building modern infrastructure for your future, for the future of New India. Never before in the history of India. So this is the new India that is being built. This is the new India that is full of opportunities, that is there for you. And so be aware that as you step out of these portals, as you step out as a graduate, you are stepping into an India full of energy, full of potential and promise, and full of opportunities for those who want to pursue opportunities. There was an old narrative about India. And in 2010 in Parliament, I raised an issue which may be of relevance to many youngsters who want to start companies, become entrepreneurs in the future. In 2010, 97% of the Indian banking system's net worth had been borrowed by 9 families of India. 9. Which meant any young Indian with a dream, any young Indian with a promise, any young Indian who wanted to build his own enterprise had absolutely no access to capital and therefore no opportunity. And today this is the same India where 104 unicorns have been created by young Indians who have no connection to any politician, who have no famous fathers or grandfathers, who have built these billion-dollar world-class enterprises. And there are 75,000 more like that in the pipeline that have been built on their own merit, on their own capability, based on their own tenacity, determination, and innovation. With no limitations on capital, no limitations on opportunity. This is the new India to which you belong to. I want to just end by telling you another thing that you should be proud of belonging to this new India generation. You all know the last 2 years, the world has gone through this unprecedented COVID pandemic. This is a disruption, this is an event that has equally challenged every nation in the world, the big, the small, the advanced, the advancing, the developed, the developing, the US, the China, the Japan, and India, and every other country in between, and their people had to deal with, starting March 2020, this deep disruption of lives and livelihoods. 2 years on, do a report card. You're all used to grades, you're all used to good grades, you're all used to bad grades. Do a report card today about where the people of India and the country of India stands, and the economy of India stands versus China, USA, UK, Japan, any country in the world. China is going through its 5th and 6th lockdown. Every part of China, every major city of China is still under lockdown. USA has gone through, the first time in its history, unprecedented high inflation due to its economic strategies during COVID. The US still has not vaccinated its entire population. The UK and the European economies are in disarray after the COVID pandemic. And look, where is India? We are the fastest growing economy in the world. We are creating the largest number of innovation unicorns and startups in the world. We have received the highest amount of FDI amongst any country in the world. So this is a new India, that post-COVID we have demonstrated to the world the resilience of all of us as Indians. We have demonstrated to the world that the oldest democracy in the world, the largest democracy in the world, which for many years was written off as dysfunctional, is today the most functional and the highest performing nation in the world. So be proud of that India that you are a new Indian generation of. I wanted to talk a lot about the opportunities that have been thrown open in the last 2 or 3 years by our Prime Minister and our government, whether it is space, whether it is semiconductor, whether it's electronics, whether it is IT, whether it's the internet, whether it's data economy, whether it's construction, whether it is e-commerce. Starting a business, becoming an entrepreneur, becoming successful has never been easier in India's history ever. You have the good fortune today of walking out with a degree, with a world-class education at a world-class institute like PSU, and going out into this world of opportunities, because all the generations before you, most of the generations before you, did not have those opportunities. For all those successful entrepreneurs that came before you, we fought and scrapped and built things with great adversity, where the government was resisting every young Indian's attempt at becoming successful. And today we have government and an ecosystem that encourages you to be successful, because we see, as the Honorable Prime Minister says, in your success, the success of India. I will end by saying 2 things to you. I know you think ministers and politicians usually are meant to come and give you rhetoric and speech, but nothing that I said today is rhetoric or speech. These are all facts. The opportunities in front of you are real. The smart ones amongst you will respond to those opportunities and become very successful. Those who are not will do what they have to do. But let me say to you 2 things. The CEO of Intel, a gentleman called Pat Gelsinger, one of the brightest minds in the area of semiconductors and technology, met the Honorable Prime Minister in March of 2022. And he tweeted after that meeting that I have no doubt that the next decade is going to be India's decade. Recently, and I'm sure some of you will be looking for jobs in that company, the CEO of McKinsey visited Delhi, an American gentleman, and he said, there is a lot of talk about the next decade being India's decade, but I think actually it is India's century. I will end by saying this. Our Prime Minister and our leader of this nation believes in a concept called India's decade, that the next 10 years are going to be built on the back of the huge technological innovations and capabilities that India is building. And he says from the ramparts of the Red Fort that the next decade and the next 25 years of independent India, the direction, the success, the velocity, and where we reach at the end of the 25 years in 2047 will be determined by the youth of India. Each one of you in this room and many others around you, like you, in classrooms and universities around the country. I'll end by saying a quote of our Prime Minister, Yuva Devo Bhava, Yuva Shakti Devo Bhava. A youthful nation like ours will leave an impact in the entire world and must leave an impact in the entire world. Once again, congratulations, class of 2022. All the best. Jai Hind.